While I have not yet definitively decided to retire That Stupid as a series permanently, it has been over 3 years since the last episode went up. So yeah, we are at least at an extended hiatus. However, I still got some ideas and even half-written scripts for the series lying around. And every now and then I think back to some episodes and the opinions I expressed. So I was wondering, wouldn't it be interesting to take a walk down memory lane and revisit all episodes of That Stupid and see how they are holding up now that I have created a little bit of distance to them? And not gonna lie, I kinda hope that this exercise reinvigorates my own interest in working on this series, or at least short scripted videos in general. Well, enough preamble, let's get started. That's Stupid. Discussing objective quality of art. Ah yeah, the one that started it all. Not just because it is the first episode, but also because this specific topic was the one that motivated me to creating this entire series. I must have come across Digi's video I mentioned in this episode shortly before and felt the deep urge to create a counterpoint to his claim that objectively good doesn't fucking exist. And I stand by my opinion on that matter to this day. The absolute dismissal of any objective quality in art is dogmatic and accordingly incorrect. My video was supposed to kick off That Stupid as a series with a banger and set the tone for what's to come. The idea, as you can probably tell by my choice in background music, the silly game I play in this video, as well as the continued inclusion of cringy jokes throughout, the idea was to go for a more cheeky, casual, hopefully even a bit witty approach to whatever I want to discuss. Something that would become quite the challenge to uphold when I gave in to my desire to also address more serious topics in future episodes. Overall, I am okay with this one. I don't think I perfectly nailed the delivery of what my vision was, but it is still the third most watched episode of the show, fourth if we count the removed episode, and it has pretty good engagement and like ratio. I'd say it was a solid pilot episode.
That's Stupid. Money.
Probably my favorite episodes in regards to the use of visual aids. Lullaby's editing was exactly the playful, energetic and reference-heavy firework I was hoping for. God, I only wish I already had the new colorful background instead of my old grey gradient. Seriously, how was I ever satisfied with that? But what about the writing and the message? Well, only 2 episodes in, and presentation aside, I have already mostly abandoned the playful approach to the topic at hand, and instead I just say straight out how I see it. At least my opinion hasn't changed much since then. Money is the means to an end humans invented for convenience, and if you treat it as anything else, you are doing it wrong. What I found personally funny about the reception of this video was the amount of comments I got mentioning Marxism. I have never read his work, but I am pretty sure that we have very different ideas about money and related questions of ownership and stuff. I have the feeling that this is more a case of my mostly US American audience living up to the stereotype that they perceive any notion of capitalism critical ideas as communism, as if there is no nuance in between. Or I'm completely wrong and indeed accidentally discovered Marxism without ever studying it.
That's Stupid. Cheating.
Okay, I will be honest with you, I love the vlog part at the end. Probably my favorite part of the entire video. Not really surprising given that it is addressing the same issue about the money video I just talked about a moment ago, is it? Similar to the money video, this one is mostly me giving it to the audience straight. Cheating bad, don't do it. It is a solid one and an honest expression of how I feel about this topic. But probably nothing really that interesting for viewers to watch, as can be seen by the dwindling engagement. Luckily for me, I had a big one lined up next, which turned out to be a winner. Most views and comments among the still available episodes and most likes of any That Stupid. And also the one that opened the door for the worst and most regrettable episodes in the series. Behold!
That's Stupid. Too many genders on Facebook.
Now, I would be lying if I would pretend not to have picked this episode very intentionally to get some attention. I even vaguely recall strategizing a bit when I decided to make it the 4th episode. First, set the overall tone with picks from my lists of serious and random topics before introducing the first one from my controversial list. And to test the waters, I picked one that's mostly harmless, aside from being adjacent to gender politics. I mean, I even admit in the vlog section at the end that this video is hardly even about genders and more about calling out Facebook for their clumsy pandering. But I guess the combination of punching up against a generally not very popular company, making a well-argued case, and the crispest visuals the series had up to that point made up for the soft bait and switch I pulled with this one. Either way, I don't have any regrets about this video itself. Except of course for the fact that its fantastic performance and positive reception encouraged me to keep doing more from my controversial list. And all of these would keep doing pretty well. Just look at the view counts. They are the ones constantly outperforming their surrounding episodes. And they all were opinions I desire to express, even though the controversial nature of those topics forced me to be extra thorough and cautious in my wording. But they all kind of betrayed the light-hearted casual spirit I originally set out for with that stupid. Which of course means that the next video has to come from the list of random topics, where I just can ramble on to my heart's content.
That's stupid. Prequels.
I just realized I don't have too much to say about the more light-hearted videos of the series. Probably for the better, so that this video doesn't get too long. My perspective on prequels hasn't really changed, and I think I did a good job reasoning my point. The only aspect that hasn't aged well about the video, except for my old avatar of course, was my inclusion of Fantastic Beasts as an example for a good unrelated prequel. Not just because I try to avoid talking about the Harry Potter IP in general nowadays, but also because thanks to the subsequent Scamander movies, it has become clear how flawed the first one actually was.
That's stupid. First impressions.
I'm actually pretty proud of this one. It brings back the more playful nature with the little self-test in the middle, and it carries a relevant message some people really need to hear. It also marks the last episode Lullaby edited for me. Her joyful editing was a precious aspect of early That's Stupid, and I'm very thankful for it.
That's stupid. The gun situation in America.
Fact. This video should not have been that stupid. The wacky tunes of A Curious Happening do not mix well with the topic of school shootings. And the fast pace and flippant approach that is at the heart of the That Stupid formula is similarly unfitting for a loaded topic like The Given. And yet I tried. The fact that I felt the need to go back and summarize my position in the ending vlog says plenty. But I dare to say there is a good video hidden somewhere in there. Picking up the actual talking points the gun defender presented me with and pointing out their flaws is a worthwhile exercise, since these are real arguments that people use in order to justify their unwillingness to acknowledge where the actual problems lie and consequently what needs to be done to improve the situation. But going through all these points, the actual Second Amendment, and presenting a solution in under 9 minutes was just a bad idea. Sadly, I doubt they're gonna revisit the topic and produce an appropriate version of it anytime soon, if ever. I have the good fortune of living in a country where guns and consequently gun violence are not a daily occurrence, and I can afford not having to worry about them all the time. And for the sake of my own happiness, I choose to make use of my privilege and avoid thinking about such USA-specific issues.
That's stupid. Superman.
A light-hearted and kinda silly topic I nevertheless feel passionate about, and which led me down some entertaining rabbit holes. This one is kinda the ideal That Stupid episode. It is also the first one in the series that, as of right now, over 4 years after its release, hasn't even cracked the 1K views mark. I do not recall being particularly heartbroken over this one's performance, but the general trend of the more fun episodes that were closer to what I wanted the show to be, doing more poorly, while the serious and sometimes dark ones got more attention, wasn't healthy for my enthusiasm regarding the series. On a more fun note, my Superman video got Lio Convoy so annoyed with me and my presentation of Superman that we had a 1.5 hour follow-up call in which he lectured me on the history of Superman, which was great. Having the rather one-sided medium of a YouTube video turning into a literal discussion is something that happens far too seldom. Sadly, there has never been a second attempt at an ANY versus video, but I am happy for the one that came to be.
That's stupid. Fat shaming as well as fat glorification.
Ah, right. The first episode where I use this balanced approach by criticizing both sides of the issue. Not as easy as it sounds, given that the entire idea of That Stupid demands that I focus on an issue and call out its flaws. Thankfully, after this one I got better in naming such split episodes going forward, so I didn't have to resort to name dropping both sides in the title. This episode was mostly inspired by the posts I showed at the end of the video, plus anecdotes from friends who confirmed that those kind of comments are real. Thinking about it, the more serious That Stupid episodes are kinda sad, considering you would expect that what I point out in them should be common sense and or human decency. And yet there obviously are people out there who apparently didn't get the memo. This video being no exception. Too bad that I doubt that any of these videos ever reach many of the people who would need them most, let alone have them change their mind about their ways. But there's hope.
That's stupid. The American two-party system.
This entire video is best summed up by my vlog at the end.
Yeah, I know, ranting over the two-party system as the source of many problems, just to end up on the realization that it itself is actually just a result of even deeper sitting problems is kinda not helping. But the American de facto two-party system is still something worth scrutinizing and criticizing. Still, spending 8 out of 9 minutes going on about how shitty a two-party system is and how much the inclusion of additional parties would improve things, only to end on the note that this is actually just a symptom of fundamental issues deeper down in the system, is bad structuring on my end. Which is probably the reason why I felt the need to add a full minute vlog at the end. Once again, a topic that would have been better served in a different format, or at the very least a longer episode, which is funny because it already was the longest episode at the time. That's stupid. Quidditch.
Not gonna lie, the fact that I sadly no longer consider myself a passionate Potterhead, or that I would not produce a lighthearted Harry Potter video anymore nowadays aside, I really like this one. It is based on a real-life conversation I had with a colleague who only knew the Harry Potter movies from watching them with his kids. And he was baffled how absolutely bonkers Quidditch actually is the more you know about it. It was a really fun video to make, which of course means it's a second video that still hasn't cracked the 1K views years later. But hey, better a badly performing fun episode than a top episode I came to regret wholeheartedly. It is time to talk about that episode.
That's stupid. The gender discussion.
Oh, the irony of having this one right after the Quidditch episode. Guess I have to give at least a little summary for this video since it is no longer available to watch. I first tell all transphobes why they are stupid, followed by me going through multiple scenarios where sex overrules gender, before calling out the bathroom debate as an example where the discussion goes haywire. 2019 was a simpler time. Now, when writing that video, I was completely aware that this was a sensitive topic, which is why I ran the script by any trans person and ally friend I could reach, and they all told me the script was fine. The feedback after release was also overwhelmingly positive, and so I congratulated myself on a job well done and moved on. For 1.5 years, this video stayed up and gathered more views than any other one in the series, before a friend told me that watching my video has triggered a trans person in their circles to have a PTSD attack. Free speech absolutists, usually found among xenophobic conservatives, claim that words can't harm people. But this is a fucking lie. I caused at least one human being, and who knows how many more before I removed the video, to have a fucking mental breakdown through my words spoken in this episode of a series which was supposed to be casual, cheeky fun. And all while calling myself an ally. I do not know if any of the points I made in the middle part of the video were truly transphobic, but it also doesn't fucking matter. They were deeply hurtful to some people, and to make matters worse, absolutely unnecessary for the overall point I wanted to make. And to this day, I cannot tell you why I did this. Creating this allegedly balanced perspective by punching all directions? Yeah, reminding trans men that female reproductive organs need to be cared for by a gynecologist sure created equilibrium. As if anybody in their right mind would have ever questioned this. And this is probably the least insensitive point I raised, but repeating any more would defeat the purpose of removing the original episode, so I won't. Thanks to videos like ContraPoint's J.K. Rowling, I have since grasped a better understanding of why this kind of pointing out facts about biological sex has a very strong transphobic tone to it. The thoughtlessness that went into my video is inexcusable. I am sorry. Sorry for the pointless pain I caused those who watched my video and felt hurt by it. And especially to those who trusted me as an ally and felt betrayed. I really hope that I have learned my lesson and have grown as a person since, so I won't repeat hurting innocent people like I did with this video ever again. Talking about hurting people.
That's stupid. Punching a Nazi.
I have no idea how the hell my two most regrettable videos ended up back to back like this, given that they both are tagged as controversial in my planning document, and I usually try to keep those further apart. Well, I call them my two most regrettable videos, and yet my regrets about this one are microscopic compared to the previous one. Nevertheless, my faith in my entire reasoning in this video has been crumbling for a while now. On the one hand, I live by and believe in a moral code that dictates that everybody should live by a standard that they are willing to grant everybody else too. Or, to put it a bit simpler, everything is cool as long as nobody gets hurt. And escalating a verbal exchange into physical violence is certainly not a standard that I want to see become the norm. But then again, I recall vividly hearing that Richard Spencer apparently became less active in public after getting punched. I couldn't find my source again, but I remember how it shook my conviction against punching Nazis with one clear message. It occasionally works. And while I welcome any time Nazis lose a spokesperson, I cannot justify this action in the face of my moral code. Or at least I couldn't until recently. In response to a video clip of a Trump supporter on a bike getting toppled by a well-placed skateboard, a user wrote, "A reminder that those who break the social contract of mutual tolerance, neo-Nazis, neo-Confederates, Trumpers, etc., are no longer protected by it, and thus, yes, it is always morally correct to punch them." This statement provided me with an alternative angle to look at the situation. Escalating a mere clash of opinions to physical violence is still not okay and could not hold up as a societal standard. But That is not the case when it comes to punching a fascist. Their entire ideology is actually a violation of the idea of generally applicable standards. One of the 3 exceptions where violence is acceptable I myself listed in my video was defense of self and others from harm. And I hope I don't need to explain why fascism causes harm. I am still hesitant to condone physical violence as generally as this poster and would advocate trying to reason first, since punching will at best silence a person, but never convince them that you are the one in the right. But if it comes down to it, it helps looking at it less as an escalation and more as a response to somebody who themselves attacks the very idea of a peaceful coexistence.
That's stupid. Conventions.
Another truly casual one where I inoffensively rant about aspects of the convention experience that I dislike. And it was overall very well received, going by the likes and engagement in the comments. At least by the less than 600 people who ended up watching it. But I mean, can you blame the viewers at this point? Out of the 7 episodes of That's Stupid released in 2019, 4 have been on serious, loaded topics. Folks looking for fluff content have probably been alienated by the series at this point, and fans of the darker topics are most likely uninterested in my personal gripes with conventions. Blame A and Y, I guess.
That's stupid. Internet drama.
This one is a weird one. On the one hand, I think this is a topic worth looking at with a critical lens, and this video was very much me processing my own journey in relation to drama. But I never was really happy with the video. I am not sure if the gimmicky shit counter in the corner was the issue, the fly analogy and the responding footage, or something more fundamental about the execution. Either way, I recall that back then, just as much as today, something about this video leaves me unsatisfied. Maybe this is another one that would have been better off not being part of this series, but then again, I cannot see a more straightforward approach to this topic being particularly entertaining. And as we have seen earlier, despite everything, this is not even the shittiest episode in the series. Pun intended.
That's stupid. Homophobia.
You know what? Among the serious-themed episodes of That's Stupid, this one is probably the best. It even works pretty well within the framework of the series. While the topic itself is serious and kinda tragic, the presentation is consistently lighthearted enough to justify the more cheeky approach. There's also no forcefully balancing this time around. I pick an issue and spend the majority of the video focusing on pointing out why it is wrong. Pair this up with pretty damn good editing by aficionados Chris, and you have an episode I am actually proud of, and I am glad that it is among the top 3 episodes of the show. Well, this concludes our trip down memory lane. I am still not sure if and what the future of That Stupid is. The episodes truest to the original spirit kept doing increasingly worse. Then we have the more serious ones that are plagued by a tonal dissonance. Not to mention that on top of that, this short video format did a disservice to most of these topics. Maybe going forward I treat That Stupid like I do the top 5 yays and nays. Keep it around as a format blueprint to bring back when I want to make a video that would fit well into it. But I don't think I will actually try to bring it back as an ongoing series anytime soon. Anyways, thanks for watching, especially if you made it this far. Please let me know how you feel about That Stupid. Episodes you enjoyed, episodes you didn't like, the development overall, and or what you think about my look back. Until next time.